Hello everybody, welcome to Word Shard.
So let's begin with the blue bead, and in the last class we did till page number 96 where we said that Sibia had to do a lot of work. She was a child woman because she was young but used to do a lot of work for the family. She was poor. Her family was also very poor. She had seen a lot of fineries in the market, but she did not have that money to buy all those things in the market. Some of the women were wearing necklaces made out of lal beads. This word means they were red colored seeds which were used to make necklace. The shiny scarlet seeds, that means the red colored seeds, which were black one end, that grew everywhere in the jungle. So everywhere in the jungle those kinds of seeds were found which they used to make the necklace. It was best to have new necklaces every year because it is made out of seeds. It will not last long. So it was so they required more seeds to make new necklaces every year instead of last year's faded ones. So they did not like the faded ones. So they used to collect seeds from the forest and then make it into a necklace. And Sibia was making one too. So Sibia was also fond of necklaces and she was also making one for herself. How nice it was going to be to hear that rattling swish round her neck. So she was very fond of that sound when you wear the necklace made out of seeds. They hit each other and make that swish sound, the rattling light sound it makes. She likes to hear that sound round her neck as she froushed along with lots of necklaces. So she was very fond of those necklaces and she always thought that she would be making one again and she will be wearing that. But each seed, hard as stone, had to be drilled with a red hot needle. Now, what was required? At least one needle was required with which they could drill the seed and then put it into that thread so that they could wear it as a necklace. But the problem was that that red hot needle was required and the family needle was snapped. So the family required one needle at least that they could heat up and make those holes. But that one in the family was broken, was snapped, it was broken. So she must wait till they could buy another. So it was required that she had to wait, she had no other way. She had to wait for another needle. Oh, for strings and strings of glass and beads, anklets. Anklets means that kind of jewelry that you wear around the ankle. Earrings, nose rings, bangles, all the gorgeous dazzle of the bazaar. So she saw everything in the bazaar, but she did not have money to buy even one of them. All her little golden body decorated. So her body, she wished, she dreamt that all her body would be decorated with all those bangles and ornaments. Chattering as they went, the women followed the dusty track towards the river. So now these women were moving towards the river. They collected paper grass, I told you, that was sent to the mill to make paper. On their way, they passed a Gujar encampment. Gujar or Gurjar is a pastoral agricultural ethnic group. They were agriculturers. They used to Baba একটু আস্তে On their way, they passed a Gujar encampment of grass huts. So these people were pastoral agricultural ethnic groups, and they lived in India, Nepal, and Pakistan. So these people they had their grass huts made over there, where the nomadic graziers would live for a time until their animals had perhaps finished all the easy grazing within reach. So they were nomadic graziers. They used to roam around and their sheep used to graze, sheep and cattle used to graze the land for some time. And till that time, when the animal had finished the grazing all around, because if the animals graze, what will happen? The grasses present there will slowly finish off, and then they had to move to some other place. So they waited till that the grass in the area was done with, and then they used to move to some other place. Or they were not able to sell enough of their white butter and white milk in the district. They also used to have cows and buffaloes. They used to extract milk and make butter out of it. They used to sell that milk or butter in the markets. So when that they were not able to sell enough of them to the people, then they used to move away from there. or there was no one to buy the young male buffaloes for tiger bait. So they also used to sell the male buffaloes, the young ones, for tiger baits. If there was a constant attack of a tiger in the village, then they required the bait so that the tiger could be killed. So if there was no requirement of that also, then they moved away. Or perhaps the cattle killing tiger was making a nuisance of himself, then they had moved on. So there are certain reasons where when these nomadic people moved away from a particular place. If there was nobody to buy the milk and butter they produced. Number two, if the animals had grazed the land completely. Number three, if there was nobody to buy the bait for the tigers, or if there was a tiger who was constantly killing their cattle. And in these circumstances, they used to move away from the land. Sibia glanced at the Gujar woman as she went past. So, as she was moving, she looked at the Gujar women. They wore trousers. So, how were they dressed? They were wearing trousers, tight and wrinkled at the ankles. So, near the ankles, it was wrinkled, and in their ears, silver rings made out of melted rupees. That was a rupees melted, as it seemed, and it was like a circular coin shaped earring, and one of them was clinking a stick against the big brass gurras in which they fetched water from the river for the camp to see which one was empty. So there were gurras, or the pots. Okay, so those were the pots that they used to keep water in it, and they were hitting it with a stick to see, it sounded differently if a pot has water and a pot does not have water. If you hit it with a stick, it will sound differently. So she was checking if the gurras or the pots contained water or not, and if there was no water, then they would go to the nearby river to fill it up. The men and boys were out of camp just now with the herd, or gone to the bazaar to sell produce, but one or two buffaloes were standing about, creatures of great wet noses and moving jaws and gaunt black bones. So there were few buffaloes that were roaming around with their skinny, gaunt means skinny black bones on the body, and wet noses and all that. The men and the boys of the camp of why is it called a camp? Because it is a temporary hut, not a place where they permanently stay like us. They are nomads. So in these camps, the boys were not present. They might have gone to sell their produce in the huts or somewhere else. The Gujars were junglis, as Sibia was too born and bred in the forest. For countless centuries, their forebears, that means their ancestors, had lived like this, getting their living from animals, from grass and trees, as they scratched their food together and stored their substance in large hearts and silver jewelry. So you see that these people were jungly people who lived in the jungles, and they got their living or earned money from their animals and from grass and trees. Okay, they scratched and collected food from everywhere, quite like Sibia, and stored their substance in large hearts and silver jewelry. They were man in the wandering pastoral age. Pastoral age means a time when farmers were slowly growing. Previously, they were Stone Age hunters. They used to hunt animals, kill them, and eat it. Slowly, they were becoming farmers, and these people were somewhat in between and not yet cultivators. And now there was the river twinkling between the trees, sunlit beyond dark trunks. They could hear it rushing along. So now they were slowly getting closer to the river. The women came out of the shore, and what does it mean by sunlit beyond dark trunks? The trunks of the trees. So they were moving through the forest towards the river. So there were long trunks of trees which were dark, but they could easily see that nearby there was the river which was shining by the sunlight. Women came out on the shore and made for the stepping stones. So the women had already come out of the forest. They were near the river. They were getting down on the stepping stones to cross it to the hill. They had to climb the hill up so that they could collect the grass from there. They had plenty to laugh and bicker about. That means they had to discuss a lot. Bicker means talk about certain petty issues as they approached the river in a noisy crowd. They girded up their skirts. That means they pulled up their skirts a little bit because they have to walk over the stones. on the river so as to jump from stone to stone, and they clanked their sickles and forks together over their shoulders to have ease of movement. So they had put their sickles, the thing that they used to cut grass, on their shoulders and their forks together so that they don't fall off. They will hold up their skirts and jump over the stepping stones, the rocks that are laid on the river, to go to the other side of the river. They shouted their quarrels above the gush of the river. So they went on talking as they were jumping from stone to stone to cross the river. Noise frightened crocodiles. So another reason why they were talking loudly is they wanted to scare the crocodile. They knew that the crocodiles are all around, so they might come and attack them. So they were talking loudly so that the noise frightens the crocodiles. The big mugger did not move. So that one which we talked about in the initial pages of the story, that big mugger crocodile was waiting in the same place, and all the women crossed in safety to the other bank. So now all the women have gone to the other side of the bank to safety. Here they had to climb a still hillside to get at the grass, but all fell to with the wind and sliced away at it wherever there was foothold to be had. So there was a steep hill, they had to climb it. Now wherever they could put their feet on and climb it, they continued to do it. They continued to climb the steep hill. So they have crossed the market, they have come here, they have crossed the forest, now they have come to the river. They have crossed the river also, now they are climbing the hill. Okay. Down below, them ran the broad river, pouring powerfully out from its deep, narrow pools among the cold cliffs and shadows, spreading into warm shallows. Shallows means where the depth of water is not much. So below the steep hill, there was the river, where there was little water, lit by kingfishers. So below it, there was the water where there were birds flying around. Great turtles also lived over there. And what is mashir? What is that? These are fishes that have stripes like tigers. So they used to have a lot of weight. Mashir weighing more than 100 pounds. So they weighed a lot. Crocodiles too. So there were crocodiles also. Sometimes you could see them lying out on those slabs of clay over there. So sometimes you could see the crocodiles who just used to lie down on the slabs of clay quite close to the river. But there were none to be seen at the moment. So now none of the crocodiles could be seen. They were not there on the mud beside the river, but they often sleep over there. Where Sibia was working, wind coming across hundreds of miles of trees cooled her sweating body. So they were up the hill, na? So wind was blowing and the sweat on the body was drying up. And she could look down over the river as if she were a bird. So when she looked down from the top of the hill to the river, she felt like a bird, as if she could just sweep like a bird down and then come to the bank of the river. Swooping flight over the bright water and golden air to the banks where she had played as a child. She wanted to fly like a bird and swoop down, often a bird does not, from top to the lower part, like swooping down, and he wanted to swoop down like that bird and come down to the place where she used to play when she was a child. In those cavelets, that means the small caves above the high water mark of the highest flood, she had stored some little bowls molded of clay while they hardened. So in one of those caves on the hills, there was cavelets means small caves. She had made some mud molded clay pots, and she had kept there so that the heat of the sun could make it hard. Okay. If there were anything that could be used for coloring, they could look fine, painted with marigolds and elephants. So she also wanted to paint that the clay pots or the bowls so that that would look even better with marigolds and elephants painted on it. Child, the sharp word, the glare of her mother's angry, sweating face pulled Sylvia back to work, and they toiled on. So they could not waste a minute. They had to gather a lot of grass so that they could earn a bit of money. So her mother looked at her very angrily, and you see glare of her mother's angry eyes means very angrily she looked at her daughter that she was wasting time. But at last it was time to go back to see to their animals and the evening meal. So now it was time that they had finished their work and they had to go back home. for their meal, the loaded women set out to cross the river again. Loaded women means they had gathered a lot of grass, so they have loaded it on their back. Now they have to cross the river and go back home. Sibia hung back. She would just dawdle a bit and run and see if the little clay cups were still there in the cave, waiting to be painted and used. So Sibia had to wait a bit, and she did not want her mother to know all that. So she hung back. She just dawdled, means she tried to act and work very slowly so that her mother and other women will pass, and she will just go and check the cavelets if those bowls were made or not, had hardened or not. Although the women were now tired and loaded, they still talked. So they went on talking because even then the risk of crocodiles remained. They had to talk so that the crocodiles did not attack them. Those in front yelled to those behind. So those who were in front talked to those who were behind loudly so that the crocodiles were afraid and did not attack them. They crossed the river safely and disappeared up the track into the trees on the other side. Even their voices died away. So now they have come down the hill, they have crossed the river, and they have gone into the forest. Their voices can no more be heard. Now Sivia is still there because she was there to check the bowls if they were prepared or not. Silence fell. Sibia came down alone to the stepping stones. Now Sibia had come down the hill and she is on the other side of the bank. The light of evening was striking up the gorge. Gorge means the narrow valley between the steep hills. So the river was it was passing through the valley. Now she has come down to that valley, to that gorge, pink into the ultraviolet shadows. Now slowly it is becoming evening, and so the sunlight is dying away. Now that the sun was off it, the water poured almost invisible among the stones with no reflection to show where it began. So now it cannot be, the sunlight is dying away, and slowly the water poured invisible among the stones. So the water was moving over the stones and they were not much visible. Sibia stepped onto the first stone. So she had to cross the river. She stepped on the first stone. She was heavily weighted. She was carrying so much grass bundled together. So her muscles stretched and ached. So her shoulder muscles were paining. The hay fork squeaked in the packed dry grass. So the packed dry grass, the hay fork was tucked into that bundle of grass and dug into her collarbone so close under the skin, in spite of the sari bunched up to make a pad. Although she had used the sari like a pad so that the hay fork did not hurt her neck, even then it was hurting her. It was stuck over here, isn't it? So it was hurting her. When she was halfway over, she put her load down on the big boulder to rest. So she was jumping one rock to the other rock to move to the other side. So as she was tired, she just wanted to rest on one of the boulders. She leaned, breathing on the fork. So she was leaning and breathing over the fork. She was very tired. At the same moment, a Gujar woman came down with two gurras to the water on the other side. So suddenly she saw that a Gujar woman, she was checking if there was water in those brass pots. So now maybe she had found one empty and she had come down to the river to bring water to the hut. In order to get the good clear water which would quickly fill both gurras to the top without sand, she walked onto the stepping stones. You know, if you collect water if you go to Puri, Digha, you will see, if you be near the shore, near the bank, then you will see there is more sand, less water, less clear water. So you need to go to the inside so that you find clear water which has less sand. So now this woman wanted clear water, clear river water. So she decided to step on the stepping stones and get some clear water. She was within a yard of the crocodile when he lunged at her. So suddenly what happened? She was quite close to the crocodile and the crocodile suddenly attacked her. Lunged means suddenly attacked the Gujar woman. Up out of the darkling water heaved the great reptile. Heave means he raised its head. The crocodile just raised its head. Water slushing off him. Water was moving off him. His livid jaws yawning, the angry jaws of it with the teeth. It yawned. It opened its mouth, all the teeth flashing as he slashed at her leg. Suddenly it came and bit the leg of the Gujar woman. The woman screamed, dropped both brass pots with a clatter on the boulder. So the crocodile has bit where the leg of the Gujar woman. So she was in great pain. She dropped the brass pots, from whence they bounced to the water, and Sibia saw them bob away in the current. Oh, the two good vessels gone. So she was very sad that, my goodness, such good brass pots have gone away with the river current. What is the irony over here? Irony of poverty. That although, imagine you seeing a crocodile attacking a person, and a brass pot lost, which will be more amazing to you, or which would be more exciting to you, the thing that the crocodile has attacked the person. But over here Sibia thinks about the two brass pots, because she is extremely poor. She feels the loss of the pots so deeply. So, oh, the two good vessels gone. The Gujar woman recoiled from the crocodile, but his jaws closed on her legs, so the Gujar woman could not free herself from the crocodile. It had got the grip of her leg quite strongly. As she slipped and fell on the bone-breaking stone and clutched one of the timber logs to save herself. So, what she did was, the crocodile was holding its leg, was holding her leg, and she was holding the timber. You remember the logs of wood that comes down with the water current and gets stuck by the sides of the river? So she was holding one of the timber. Okay. The log jammed between two boulders. Imagine these are the two boulders and the log is straight like this. So the log cannot pass out of the two rocks. That is why she held one of that log of wood and tried to save herself from the crocodile. While the crocodile pulled on her leg, threshing its mighty tail bang bang to and fro in great smacking flails as he tried to drag her free and carry her off down into the deeps of the pool. Blood spread everywhere. So what is the crocodile trying to do? The Gujar woman is holding on to the log of wood. Okay, and the crocodile is trying to free her from there. From boulder to boulder, she came leaping like a rock goat. So, rock goats are animals who can just jump and over steep, sloping hills, or coming down or going up to the hill. So, they are very fast in climbing the steep hills. So, in the same way, Sibia jumped from one rock to the other rock. Okay, it was not that easy. They are slippery. If you have been to mountains and mountain rivers, you know that these rocks in between these rivers are very slippery, because constantly water flows over it. So those are slippery. So sometimes it seemed difficult to cross these stones, especially the big gap in the middle where the river coursed through like a bulge of glass. In the middle of the river, because the water is deep over there, the boulders are almost hidden within the water. So it is difficult to jump from one rock to the other rock like that. She could just slip and fall and move away with the current. But now she came on wings, choosing her footing in midair. So she had to decide that I'll jump, okay, I'll fall onto this rock, I'll jump again, what force or what energy I require to jump to the other rock. She had to decide midair. But now she came on wings, choosing her footing in midair, without even thinking about it, and in one moment she was beside the shrieking woman. So she just jumped and jumped and jumped. She knew she had to be fast, otherwise the crocodile will take her away. In the boiling bloody water, the face of the crocodile fastened round her legs. So the face of the crocodile was all around the leg of the woman, was tugging to and fro and smiling. So it seemed that the crocodile was smiling with all that teeth around him. His eyes rolled onto Sibia. So the crocodile took one look at Sibia, that she was coming from the other side. One slap of the tail could kill her. So if the crocodile just moved its tail, it could throw Sibia off into the water. He struck. Up shot the water 20 feet and fell like a silver chain. So the crocodile just thumped the water with that tail, and water just hit up 20 feet above him. Again, so he went on doing that so that Sibia could be moved away from his prey. The rock jumped under the blow, but in the daily heroism of the jungle, as common as a thorn tree, so she had become like a thorn tree which can endure whatever might be the difficulty. Sibia did not hesitate. Thorns are kind of the leaf only, which are made into thorns, so that there is less evaporation of water. So in the same way, Hesibia was accustomed to all those dangers. She was not afraid of all that. She aimed at the reptile's eyes. With all the force of a little body, she drove the hay fork at the eyes, and one prong. Okay, I have a thing like a hay fork for you all. See, it has one. There are 2 to 3 ends, isn't it? Protruding parts, and this one part, one prongs is one prong, one extended part of the one pointed end of the fork. Now this went into the eye of the crocodile, right in, while its pair scratched past on its horny cheek. So one went into the eye, and the other part, other end, other long end, went grazed the side of the crocodile's head. The crocodile reared up in convulsion till half his lizard body was out of the river, the tail and nose nearly meeting over his stony back. Then he crashed back, exploding the water, and in an uproar of bloody foam, he disappeared. So what happened? Sibia had stuck the hay fork into the eye of the crocodile. So the crocodile was hurt. It just moved its body like this, and the tail went out of water almost, and then it fell back and disappeared with all blood everywhere. He would die because you see, in no other place could Sibia hurt the crocodile. The eyes were only the soft parts, so she hit it there. She was very clever. He would die, not yet, but presently, though his death would not be known for days, not till his stomach blown with gas floated him. So what will happen slowly with that part of thing into its eyes? It will slowly die, and after 7 days, it will just come floating on the water when the body would be filled with gas. Even any dead body that might have dropped into the water and died over there, it will slowly float up. Okay, then perhaps he would be found upside down among the logs at the timber boom. Timber boom means where there are a chain of connected timbers which are stuck by the sides of the river. Someday, a few days after this, the body of the crocodile would be found. Sibia knew that for sure. Okay, so Sibia got her arms round the fainting woman and somehow dragged her from the water. So she now comes and helps the woman to come out of water. She stopped her wounds with sand, used sand and rag to cover the wound and help so that there is less blood loss, and helped her home to the Gujar encampment, where the men made a litter. Litter means it is a kind of device which is used to carry injured women to the hospitals or somewhere. So that was made, and the Gujar and the men from the Gujar encampment took her for treatment. Then Sibia went back for her grass and sickle and fork. So she sent that woman to the Gujar encampment, and then she came back because she also had to carry that grass and sickle and fork that she had left over there. The fork was lying in the river, not carried away, luckily. So the fork was not it did not go away with the current of the water. It was still there. She bent to pick it up from the water. She saw the blue bead. When she had gone to pick up the fork, the hay fork, then she suddenly found a blue bead, a blue colored stone. Not blue now with the sun nearly gone, but a no color white blue, and its shape wobbling in the movement of the stream. So there was a blue stone, and it was moving up and down with the movement of the water. She reached her arm down into a yard of the cold silk water to get it, missing it first of all because of refraction. So the light deflects also, then you don't know whether the stone is here or just a little bit beside it. So she went to get hold of the bead, but she missed once, and then she got it. Then there it lay in her wet palm, perfect, even pierced, ready for use, with the sunset shuffled about inside it like gold dust. All her heart went up in flames of joy. So what she has got, she always wanted a bead which she could wear like a necklace or a pendant, but she did not even have the needle to make the necklace. And now she has got one blue bead which is perforated where the hole is already made. It is just like a gift that she has got for the bravery that she has shown. After a bit, she twisted it into the top of her skirt against her tummy so she could know if it burst through the poor cloth and fell. So the thing that she wore was torn here and there, so she had to keep it safe. So she wrapped it around in such a way around her waist so that if it fell, she could feel it and pick it up immediately. Then she picked up her fork and sickle and the heavy grass and set off home. Aye, what a day! So she was very happy. She's not afraid of the wriggle mark of snakes. In the forest there are snakes, there are dangers of poisonous snakes. She's not afraid of that. There was the thin singing of malaria mosquitoes among the tree now. So there are malaria mosquitoes also. That is also something which we need to be scared of. She was not scared of that. And this track was much used at night by a Moro's old Makhna elephant. So in the forest there were Makhna elephants. They were taskless, bull-like elephants which were very ferocious and dangerous. She was not afraid of that also. The stars came out, she noticed. On the way back, she met her mother, out of breath, come to look for her and scolding. So her mother had come running, and she was looking for her because she did not know where Sibia had fallen back. I did not see till I was home that you were not there. So Sibia's mother had not noticed that Sibia was not coming with them. I thought something must have happened to you. And Sibia, bursting with her story, cried. Something did. So Sibia had to say a lot. We feel that Sibia is going to tell about what? About her victory over the crocodile, how she saved the Gujar woman. But what is she trying to say? I found a blue bead for my necklace. Look, this is the dramatic irony. That she is so fond, she has never got anything to adore that she wanted to have. And she, even above what she has done, even above her extreme bravery, what she is happy about like a little child is that blue bead that she has got. So it shows the extreme poverty that Sibia and her family was living in, and it also shows the extreme bravery that Sibia had accepted as a day-to-day day-to-day experience that she goes through. When she meets such dangers in the forest, she meets dangers in the river, up the hill. Okay, there are dangers all about her. So even being a very young girl, she is aware of all that. She has accepted that as a daily affair, and she is aware that she will have to battle it, and that is not an uncommon thing. Okay, so from here we have completed the chapter over here, and coming to the workbook, I'll tell you that we have the title, which is important, where you have to identify the appropriateness of the title, that it emphasizes the dearth of wealth, that is poverty, that surrounds Sibia and her family. She was so fond of the wonders such as the satin sewn with red silver thread, the sari with mirror embroidered to it, but could never get them. She worked very hard to save the Gujar woman, and as a gift of it, as a gift to her bravery, she got that bead. Okay, so finally she found a blue bead for her necklace as a gift. So the character of Sibia is also very important, and the struggle for survival and the poverty that they lived in, these are all very important, and there are a few questions in the workbooks. So those also I'll discuss in the next class in the written form, in the PDF format you will get it. And I think you have liked my video, and if you have liked it, you please do comment, subscribe and share, and if you have questions, you are free to ask me in the comment section, as you know. So here we will end the video, and so thank you, bye bye, hope to meet you in the next video.